Hey, what's up? This is Shaun Glass from the band Repentance, and you are listening to the Nothing Shocking podcast.
Want to know what's going on in the world of music? Then tune in to the Nothing Shocking podcast, a non-genre based, all ages friendly rock and roll program. Join us weekly for interviews with all your favorite rock stars from the mainstream to the underground. You can find us at nothingshocking.libsyn.com or anywhere you download podcasts.
We're putting the band back together.
The numbers all go to 11.
I'm talking about bands that rock. Led Zeppelin. What about Sabbath? AC/DC. Motorhead.
Does that mean it's louder? Is it any louder?
Well, it's one louder, isn't it?
We're not worthy! We're not worthy!
Why don't you just make 10 louder and make 10 be the top number and make that a little louder?
These go to 11.
I get up off the ground and raise my head. Days like this, think I should be dead. One for Satan, two for me. Let's cheat the devil, it's fun, don't you agree?
Welcome to the Nothing Shocking podcast. I'm your co-host, Jeff Untied, and with me in Dogbowl Studio is
Coach Nez.
You can find the Nothing Shocking podcast on Libsyn or any podcatchers. Like our Facebook page or follow us on X at No Shock Pod.
You can also find the Nothing Shocking podcast on Rock Rage Radio every Sunday morning at 7 a.m. Central Time. Our sponsor is Ragged Records, located in downtown Rock Island, Illinois, and downtown Davenport, Iowa. We'd like to thank the Hong Kong Sleepover for allowing us to use their music for our intro and bumper ending. And tonight's guest is
Shaun Glass from Repentance.
Yeah, formerly of Soil.
We talked about their latest album, The Process of Human Demise, and about his Chicago roots.
Yeah, hey, let's get to the interview.
All right, good night.
Good night. Shaun, welcome to the Nothing Shocking podcast. I'd like to introduce you my co-host, Jeff Untied.
Shaun, thanks for joining us today.
Hey, man, glad to speak to two fellow metal Illinois friends, right?
Yeah,
you guys are Illinois.
Absolutely, yeah. So before we get into the really tough questions, saw a picture of you on social media looking you were eating at a delicious Mexican cuisine as of lately. Where was that at?
Oh, that was Adam. Our singer with a groovy mustache. It's a place that we hit near our rehearsal spot in Chicago on the north side, and they have we jam. We call it Metal Monday. We usually have Metal Mondays, the Repentance night. We get practice, and we usually hit this little place that's en route to the highway when we leave our practice spot called El Pueblito, and it's pure gold, man. It's so good. It's like we always look at each other when we're done. We're like, oh my god, it's like you just ran a marathon, but it was delicious.
Very good.
But if you like Mexican, authentic, real good steak, tacos, and burritos, oh my god, I can't help. But we just stumbled upon it one night after rehearsal. We were hungry and we're like, this looks good, and it's it was literally like 5 minutes down the road from the spot we use in Chicago called Fort Knox, and it rocks. So Adam was devouring the burrito, our singer, and I was like, I gotta get a photo. It's like perfect. His mustache,
Yes.
The burritos, the Coke can. I was like, this is like an ad.
Fantastic. All right, well, let's get right into this now. So Repentance recently supported the Swedish metal act Orbit Culture for 2 shows this past August. Can you talk a little bit more about the opportunity supporting Orbit Culture for these past 2 shows?
We've become friends with them because we did another show maybe a little less than a year ago in Milwaukee with them. They were filling dates, whatever. Their management and booking agent reached out, who I'm friends with, and I knew of the band because I discovered them on my own prior to these shows that Repentance supported them. I heard the Red Fog EP and was a fan, reached out to Nicholas and him and I had like loose dialogue, and then, you know, I finally got to see them when Repentance opened for them in Milwaukee, and we just had great vibes. As people, we all got along. We had, you know, obviously similar interests in music, life, whatever, and we fit, like, musically. I think Orbit Culture and Repentance really do fit. Like, we're not exactly the same, but we could definitely be at the same restaurant, you know?
Yeah.
So, not to keep focusing on eating, right? But it was just hella cool that we became friends from the Milwaukee show. And then when the time came that they had these Slipknot dates, they wanted to do some headline shows on and off between the scheduling so they didn't have to sit around, you know, and have days off, because, you know, days off are boring or waste a lot of money for artists. So long story short, their manager reached out to us and said, "Hey, Orbit Culture guys, wondering if you want to do a couple shows." And I was like, "Oh yeah," you know, and everybody in Repentance was like, you know, let's do it. We had so much fun in Milwaukee with them, and we made a lot of new fans. We had a great show with them in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. So it just made sense. And, you know, hopefully more will happen in the future. We really get along great, and we think they're a killer band. And it's great for me because seeing them from the last few albums and singles, and it's great to finally meet them and see them live. But for me to start seeing, like, you know, I'll be out at a show and see someone wearing an OC shirt, I'm like, yeah, it's starting to bubble, you know? So it was really cool. Plus, we got to play our home with it, Chicago, you know, where that's where we are based, basically. And it was just great because we play Chicago. We do have a great fan base, but we don't oversaturate our market. We don't play out every month in our backyard. But the Orbit Culture show was great because it was younger audience, which was awesome. And also, we heard a lot of people like, "This is my first time seeing you guys. Where are you from?" I'm from about 30 minutes down the road, you know. So it was a really, you know, good experience. And the Detroit show was killer. I got to see some people I haven't seen in a while, some friends of mine from the past that have come out to the gigs, and it was great. And our lead guitarist, Eric Burns, I think I'm saying this right. I think he, if I remember correctly, he was actually born in Michigan originally. So not a homecoming, but maybe a birth coming to the state. You know, I don't know how you would word it, but.
Yeah, very good.
Well, yeah, so we're not too far from Chicago, but I'm not familiar with the Bottom Lounge. Can you talk a little bit about that club?
Yeah. Bottom Lounge is a really cool room in Chicago. It has some history because it used to be at a different location years ago. I think I saw Nevermore there once, and Arch Enemy, actually. And then they moved the room and just kept the brand, right? And in the last, I don't know, maybe 5 years or so, have been at this location that we just recently played at with Orbit Culture. And it's a really cool room in the heart of the city. And, you know, very professional, super nice lights and sound, and great hospitality. So it was great, you know, and it was the first time Repentance ever played that room as well. So it was really cool.
Oh, nice. Fantastic. You know, as we see the COVID-19 mitigations way in the rearview mirror, how do you feel as though your attendance for the audience is? Is it like COVID never happened, or do you still feel like there might be just a little bit of apprehension to go to live shows?
No, I think you're right about the first thing. I think it's like it never happened. I think, well, you know, I can only speak for metal fans, right? Because, you know, I'm not going to see Beyonce, nor do I have any interest or the money to buy a ticket like that. But I think if for the metal community in North America, there's a plethora of shows. There's so many shows in Chicago. Like, I think there was like 3 shows this week that I was like, I could go, but you know, life calls duty and family and band rehearsal. Sometimes I can't make every gig, but there's just a lot. I think people are going out. I think they've kind of moved on from COVID. I'm not saying the disease, and I feel horrible for anyone that actually had a relative or family member that passed away from the. I mean, it's, you know, I'm not a conspiracy theorist. I know it's real, but I think that people have, you know, people were so locked down, and I guess it's the only proper
Almost
way you can
repressed.
say that. And I think people were just like, want to get out and rock out and have fun and live. Like, especially if you're a fan of music and you like metal, you want to go out, like, yes, it's cool to stream your favorite album or listen to your favorite vinyl or your CD or whatever your audio excitement is. But I think you still have to go see bands, and good bands live. It's like, there's nothing like it, man. That's like the key. Like, if you could love an album to death, right? You could listen to the best Carcass album every day. And then what if you saw a band? I'm not saying Carcass, but what if you saw a band that you're like, I love this band, but then you go see them live and you're like, this is really boring. Then it's like so anticlimactic that you're like, eh. But I think for the most part, the majority of people that listen to hard rock and metal, go out and enjoy it and have a good time and absorb it and take it in, because that's what the style of music's about. It's not like, listening to the Flock of Seagulls and Duran Duran, right? So.
Well, this past July, toward the end of July, I saw Black Flag here locally in a room, and it was
cool.
It was a sardine can, and it never ceases to amaze me. You get all these people together in a sardine can, and there's always those two people with COVID masks on. And I think, what the hell are you doing? What does it matter at this point?
I still see it in the city at shows.
Yeah,
I do. Yeah, I still see it. Yeah, I kind of like wince or kind of shock. It's kind of a little weird, but teach their own, man. Right? Like, I'm not a dictator. I don't want to be a dictator. I don't want someone telling me what to do. And you kind of, if you're grown up and have a brain, you should kind of know what's right from wrong, right? But I don't think forcing people to do something anymore is really a smart etiquette.
Absolutely.
Like, hey, man, if you want to go out, and I hope you don't get sick, but if you get sick, and you can beat it, hopefully, take your vitamins, eat your greens, and crank some Slayer, and hopefully you're all right, So
absolutely.
So what does Repentance have in store for? Do you have any more shows for the rest of this year, or are you going to wait till next year?
Yeah, we got a really big show, but I sadly cannot announce it. It's getting announced next week, and for certain reasons I can't announce it. It's a really big show.
Nice.
For us to wrap up the year, but it's definitely in the Midwest. I could say that, and it's us and another really killer popular band.
Nice.
So once it's announced and you guys see it, or you on my socials or Repentance socials or whatever, then you could, text me or email and be like, but we can't announce it yet. But yes, we have one more really ripping, rocking, killer show to wrap up the year. And then I think it's time for us to focus on writing new Repentance.
Well, we have to be the number one podcast on We Can't Tell You Quite Yet. That is the story of our lives.
Yeah, we got a new project coming, but I can't tell you about it.
I promise I will let the cat out of the bag as soon as I can. It's just certain reasons I can't.
Well, no, we totally.
It's nothing. It has nothing to do with my band. So Repentance, we would love to tell y'all, but we will tell everybody in about a week or so.
It has everything to do with our sucky timing. That's what it is.
But I don't think that, but it has nothing to do with you guys. The reason I can't say, and this is our first time ever chatting, so I please don't be offended. It's nothing to do with y'all.
Yeah, go ahead, Jeff.
All right. Well, you kind of mentioned Eric, Eric, the other guitarist, right? Because you have two Erics. You have Eric on
Burns,
bass.
the lead, yeah. He plays. Yeah, we have two. We call our bassist EK because his initials are Eric Carroll.
Yeah.
And then our lead guitarist, because he just shreds, we call him Burns. But yes, so we kind of have it in Repentance Land how to work and talk to each other with two Erics in one band.
Yeah, you got Adam on vocals and is it Brandon White on drums?
The pulverizing.
So yeah,
drums.
tell us a little bit about your other band members, band dynamics, and your band.
Everyone's kind of in their own world and different as people. But Adam Gilley, our singer, is a killer, really rising tattoo artist, and he's got his own shop. He's his own boss. It's called Insidious Studios, right over the border of Illinois, Wisconsin. I think it's Bristol or Kenosha, pardon me. But Insidious Studios, Adam's a really killer tattoo artist. And he makes candles and Bibles. No, I'm joking. and our lead guitarist, Eric Burns, he's just a really chill, laid-back dude, great guitarist, family man. He's got some kids, a few under the belt, and married and all that. But and then our bass player, Eric E.K., I've known him the longest, actually. He used to work at Washburn Randall as a builder, and he was in a band that I used to be friends with back in the day called Bludgeon in Chicago. They were like, I don't know, kind of like Demolition Hammer, thrash metal, And then Brandon, our ripping drummer, I got him first before with the new lineup. Actually, he was the first one in because a few people referred him to me and said, you should really check out this dude. And, I just went on social media and stalked his page for a few days, right? And then kind of like watched some videos of him. And then, just I could tell he was cool. People told me that he's a very nice guy and really a killer drummer, which is first and foremost, right? And he liked a lot of the same metal as me. He was really well-versed, kind of a nerdy death metal guy. I don't want to say that, but it's true. And he likes a lot of other genres of music. So, like, I'll bring up some random bands, like, oh, dude, I love them. And they'll be like, show me, like, I've got every CD by them. Like, I can't even name a band right now, and just, really good people. And just the guys are all just, we all see eye to eye on music and the style and what we want to, achieve. And we have fun playing together. Like, we enjoy. We don't get to practice and don't stare at each other and sit in a corner and go, God, I want to kill this guy with a knife, So it's not like that, which is nice. I mean, I've been in bands that are not always the happiest campers, So it's nice, and we all dig the same kind of music, and we all respect each other's lives and privacy, and all have the same goals with Repentance. Like, we're doing things our way, and we're doing what we want, and not being told to be what we need to do with our band.
Nice.
Well, let's go back a little bit to 2023 when the band released The Process of Human Demise. Can you give our listeners an insight to the creation of that album? How did the writing and recording come together for that album?
We just, some of it was written by me sitting on my couch and bringing it to practice and hashing it out, and showing ideas. And some of it was written on the spot at the practice spot. And then we would bring it to the studio. Alex Lackner, he also plays in Lazarus AD, a long-time Wisconsin thrash band that's been on a long-time hiatus. But we just would bring it there and just start demoing it, and then somebody would bring it back to the jam room and record ideas on the phone and just go back and forth and sit down and just really kind of like, try to make things as organic as possible, but yet really tight and modern metal. I'm not looking for us to sound like a Soundgarden album, but it was a real natural process, and then Alex really works with our singer Adam great. He works with our singer Adam very well. I shouldn't sound like Adam Great, like his name. And just Alex Lackner, who produced it, he really works with Adam really good one-on-one, and we'd bounce ideas, but even like our most known or most streamed popular song is Reborn. And that song, it was so instant, so spontaneous. Adam just came in for the most part and had 90% of the vocals, ideas, and lyrics and hooks down. So when he started demoing that song, when we had just rough recordings of it, before we got in there and really polished it, it came together. And then I was talking to Corey from Trivium. He's a real close friend of mine. We talk every day about the best Creator album, whatever. But when we were focused on the new album, I was like, "Hey, I'm going to send you something so you could hear the direction, And then he heard the really rough demos of Reborn, the song. And he's like, "Dude, let me shred on this." I was like, all right, like I'd be honored to have you as my friend, but also like people like, wow, Trivium's on a Repentance track, this is cool. And so Trivium fans, could gravitate and hear Corey playing some metal on something different, and it was cool. It was so natural because it was just friends. It wasn't like, hey, I'm going to send you a check for $2,000. Will you be in my band for 15 minutes? It was really very not like that, because I know some people pay artists to do collabs or whatever. And hey, what works for you, right? But it was more of just like bros being bros. Like, hey, dude, I want to shred on this new track. I dig it. And it was just a natural thing,
Very good.
Oh, yeah, I see the track before that, Withered and Decayed, had also featured Milo Silvestro. Can you talk a little bit about that collaboration?
Yeah. What happened was we put out the EP, Reborn EP, and then we went back in the studio and started the bulk of the album. I was talking to Dino Cazares from Fear Factory, and he's like, what are you going to do? Are you going to put another guest on that record? And I said, it'd be cool. This song we got, Adam wrote this really cool melodic chorus. Maybe we could have Milo, sing along, sing on the track. Sing the chorus with Adam and double it up. And he's like, yeah, but, at the time, Milo wasn't announced yet. So we were like, all right, so we're going to sit on this. So I can't remember exactly everything with time frame, but I know that we were recording, and then they finally announced Milo, and then they were out on the Static X tour. Then we were all hanging out, up in Milwaukee at the infamous rave. We were hanging at the rave at the Static Fear Factory show, and then something came up, like I said something like, dude, it'd be cool to have Milo on a song. And then Dino was like, yeah. He's like, dude, if Milo's into it, do it, So then, Milo, I was like, you know what? I'm going to send Milo the track when we get home tomorrow morning or whatever, And there's, again, another really like rough demo version of Withered and Decayed. So sent Milo the track, and Adam, Adam and him had dialogue, our singer. And it just went from there. And then Milo said, well, as soon as I get back to LA, which was kind of, Fear Factory headquarters, hey, I'll have like a few weeks off before I have to do other stuff. But let me get into the studio and do this. And then as soon as he sent it, I was like, oh, dude, it's there. Like, it was so, like, it just fit. It was just so natural, and like, it was killer. But we had to, like, had to kind of wait. And then I can't remember the timeline, but he recorded on the track, but nobody had heard any new Fear Factory songs. They've only heard them live. So kind of wanted to wait. Dino was like, let's wait. And then, because all the stuff from YouTube and all the live footage from touring was bouncing and getting everywhere. So that kind of helped us, because that way people had heard Milo and seen him live, most Fear Factory fans. And that way we could know that, all right, the timing's right for us to put this out so for everyone could hear Milo on a Repentance track. But it was a little, I think some people are a little hesitant, because should the first song that people hear from Milo be a Repentance song? And I get that.
Yeah.
It was a little bit of a concern, but everybody, in our camp and their camp dug the track. They're like, oh, dude, Withered and Decayed bangs. Like, this is so good. And it was a little different, because of the melodic stuff and having him trade off with Adam in verses. So it was cool, I think that track kind of stands out on its own because of that, and live, that track really goes over. It's a fun song. It's fast as shit, pardon my French, and it's a good song.
Oh, fantastic! Cool. Well, Venom Inside is my favorite track off the Process of Human Demise. That song is a true banger from the beginning to the end. Talk a little bit more about the creativity behind that song.
Venom Inside, I think, was the last song. I had like the intro riff and then the verses, and then I was showing Alex, our producer. I was like, I want to write, the banger. I want the album closer to like rip your face off, thrash assault, like give me some Damage Incorporated meets Slayer, right? And it just kind of was the frame of mind. And a song just kind of fell into place, and just came into its own. And then, got Burns doing a killer shredding lead, and Brandon doing some fast as hell drumming, and Adam screaming his throat out. I mean, it is kind of just like a all guns blazing, balls out, rip your face off song, And I'm glad you mentioned it, because
true banger.
We all thought,
Yeah.
we all thought that too when we were working on it. We're like, dude, this is a face melter, And again, I really feel that an album closer should either be really dark and moody, or it's going to just kick your teeth in. So that's kind of my frame of mind. Like, I always like albums like that, like especially Fear Factory. Like, I always loved the closer that was really like dark and epic, and like end of a movie, like your Blade Runner's ending or Aliens or whatever, And so I like stuff like that. But for Repentance, I thought, you guys, we need a total kick down your door and plunder your town song. It was just that kind of track, and it was the frame of mind and the way it came together. It's just like, it just became very natural to make a song like that be a total brutality. Which I think it's heavy.
Oh man, it is badass. Jeff, you got the next one?
Well, yeah, I was just going to ask you a little bit about the band's take on videos. I watched Down in the Water, which is kind of a video with more of the live band setting. I'd seen you guys, and then you guys got a video out there for Buried by Fear with more of a lyric video, which is more artistic with the words. Can you talk a little bit about your guys' approach to videos?
Well, Down in the Water we did in Chicago. And it was a performance video, so people could see the band, which is great, because those still exist, even though, hate to say it, MTV in the days of watching, videos at 2 a.m. hoping that something good's on, those days are gone, But there's still an audience out there that wants to see the band, and maybe they live in Bulgaria and can't watch us, we haven't played there. So maybe the best way for them to see Repentance is on a video such as Down in the Water. But then I also, I do like, the creative, not too artsy fartsy, but, like Buried by Fear or the new one for Light It Up. Like, I like the visualizers, and I think people get to read the lyrics, and maybe they're working at a restaurant or a bar or a tattoo store or whatever, and they don't really have time to sit there for 4 minutes or 3 minutes to just stare at the TV, but they still want to listen to, their band that they like, or check out some bands. And it's kind of like, this is cool. And I'm looking at the screen and you still get, excited and stimulated from a visual, of the band, but you're not just watching five guys bang their head in a warehouse, I do think it's cool, and I still love metal videos, I can't tell you the last time I sat down and really watched a full one. I listen to songs more. Like, I'd rather go on, streaming or put a CD on, and that's kind of how I look at music. But if it's a band I really like if a Machine Head or a Trivium drops a new video, yeah, I'll watch it for sure. But I don't know if I really watch a band's video more than once or twice.
Yeah, fair enough.
But that's just me. That's just me.
Yeah. God for a Day was the band's debut album back in 2020, year of the pandemic. Can you talk a little bit more about?
Yeah, what time to put out an album?
Can you talk a little bit more about recording that album, the debut album, and then opposed to how is it different than recording the sophomore album?
Oh, way different, because we actually recorded God for a Day at a different studio with a different engineer. His name is Chuck Masak, really good engineer in Chicago, and really good guy. He's done a lot of cool local bands, and it was a totally different vibe. But we did have Chris Collier, who mixed and mastered God for a Day, and he mixed and mastered The Process of Human Demise and the EP Volume 1 Reborn. So both those recordings were mixed and mastered by the same guy, and he's worked with Prong, Corn, Flotsam and Jetsam, a lot of cool bands. And I really like his work, and I thought it was, a great touch, and I think he did a great job on all things Repentance. But the recording of the album was different because it was a different studio, and there were some different people in the band. But the recording for God for a Day it wasn't totally different, but since it was different studio and there was different people around in the band and different engineers, that made everything a different experience than where we, fell into place on the Process of Human Demise with the band and with the producer that we're working with, my bro Alex Lackner from Lazarus AD, and recorded in his home studio, which is really close to my house, really laid back, chill, and just a good vibe. I think that when we started working together, we just really had a good understanding of what we would think Repentance should go for, and goals and sounds and tones and just nerdy stuff,
Fair enough.
So, yeah. What can our listeners look forward to in music coming up? Do you have any, are you guys working on anything in the studio now?
Yeah, not in the studio, but there's some stuff starting to fall into place, but way early. But 2025 is a goal for a new album.
Nice.
That's it. And it'll be on Noble Demon Records, who did the last album. Great upstart, new up and coming label out of Germany. And they did a pretty good job, we felt, with Process of Human Demise. And, it's I don't think listeners are going to be getting something totally different. Like, we like what we're doing now, and the style and sound of the band. It's pretty cemented from the last album and the first album, but I'd say more akin to the Process of Human Demise is a good reference. Like, I look at bands like AC/DC, Slayer, Obituary. For the most part, those bands are very cohesive, and I definitely think that's, on the horizon. I don't think the next Repentance album is all of a sudden going to sound like Rob Zombie, So, yeah, I promise you that. But I'm just saying, like, we're pretty much going to stick to the path we're on, and, aggressive, energetic, hooky, groovy, fast at times, slow at times, and just mix it up. But, to me, I like hooks, man. Like, I have a hard time listening to bands that I can't remember a song. Like, you can have your epic, you can have your Rime of the Ancient Mariner or whatever, and you can have your Orion, but you still want your Battery, you still want your Wherever I May Roam. You still want the songs that you can remember. At least for me as a musician and a fan and a listener, that's what I go for. I want to have something I can remember. And not every song has to beat your head and say the chorus 500 times, but I feel as a songwriter, if you want to call me one, I feel as a writer, artist, and a fan, that's what I enjoy. Like, I listen to a lot of the stuff I grew up on, Kiss, Judas Priest, Van Halen, Motorhead, whatever. I like those bands because they wrote great songs and they're timeless, and like, they weren't trying to show me an algebra class, and I'm not really in that. Like, I want to rock,
Fair enough.
Yeah, and hey, if that's not what you want or like, there's a million other things at the buffet. Go for it.
That's right. Well, let's talk a little bit about your band's merchandise. On your website, you have pretty cool. You have some shirts out there by Warlord Clothing, I believe, and then some colored vinyl and stuff. Talk a little bit about your partnership with them.
Warlord Clothing handles all of our online, so people can get. There's probably like 2 or 3 shirts always up there, and they ship all over the world. I have fans from Israel message me, showing us pictures wearing Repentance shirts, which is totally cool and flattering. Yeah. And they make great merch, good quality. Warlord Clothing is very pro. They ain't gonna rip you off if you buy online. And we try to keep at least 2 or 3 designs up there, so if there is that fan in the Wichita, Kansas that we haven't played there yet, you can get a Repentance shirt from Warlord Clothing. And the vinyl is all through the label. Noble Demon presses all the records and CDs. So if you want physical format of Repentance, on repentanceband.com, our website has the links, and everything is pretty easy to navigate through. And if you hear this and hear our band and like Repentance, and grab a shirt,
Fantastic. All right, one last question, and we'll leave you alone for the evening. So,
okay.
This is more of a roundtable question. Yeah. I like to throw this at Jeff because he's always unprepared. But let's just talk about you, and then I'll go to Jeff, then I'll go to me. Last album you listened to. What is it?
I can tell you exactly. The last album I listened to was Forbidden, Twisted into Form.
Ooh.
From 1989.
Craig Lucicero at his best.
Yes. I was just listening to Twisted into Form instant. It was just literally playing when I pulled up to my house before I had to do the phone with you guys. And I was just cranking some old school thrash, some Bay Area metal, Forbidden.
One of the most underrated thrash bands of all time.
Oh, dude. Really?
Oh, I mean,
all right.
I'm going to tell you right now. I believe that they should be like top 8. If the people out there, the journalists can't put them in the top 8 of top thrash bands of all time, it's crazy.
Forbidden?
Yes.
That's cool. I'm glad you know them. I've actually, you never know if you'd be like, who's that? I'm actually stoked that you do know who Forbidden is. Another Bay Area band, all right, you said thrash bands that deserve more recognition. Right down the street, same genre, same era, Heathen.
Yeah, now they're a little bit out of my wheelhouse, but yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Especially the Victims of Deception and Evolution of Chaos. Mm-hmm. Those 2 albums are so good thrash. Another one, you said, how many do you want me to name?
I said 1, but if you want to name as many as you want, go ahead.
Oh, no. There we go.
Absolutely.
So let's go with Heathen. Yeah, let's go with Heathen. I really think they're an underrated, legendary, classic thrash metal band. Right from the Bay Area originally. They've gone through some people, a few members like every band, but I like Heathen. I think they got the crunch,
Absolutely. Jeff, what you got?
It's not super heavy metal or anything, but just had an inkering for Steve Miller Band the other day. I've listened to like the greatest hits, 100 times, but I never really listened to any of his back catalog. So I just kind of picked a couple albums and I still prefer the greatest hits. And the Joker. I went back and listened to the Joker.
The Joker, yeah. Cool. I'll be brutally honest. I've never really delved into Steve Miller.
No, I hadn't either. I was sitting there thinking the other day, like, you hear all about Jim Morrison and Jimi Hendrix. You hear stories about the different band guys and like wild stuff they got into, but you never really hear anything about Steve Miller. It made me wonder, is he even a real guy? That he is.
There is a Steve Miller on Earth. I guarantee it.
Well,
and
what people
pretty legendary.
And and the crazy thing about Steve Miller is that he did a few shows where Joe Satriani was in his rhythm section. He played rhythm guitar. How cool is that?
You're like, you're not going past the 5th fret, Joe. Just stay here. He's probably like a pit bull, like with a collar on in front of a steak,
Absolutely.
How do you tell Joe Satriani, all right, you're going to play a 45-minute set and you can't shred?
Exactly. All right, so my pick is I just purchased this on vinyl 2 weeks ago. Kiss, Creatures of the Night.
Nice.
Oh, that's a banger,
isn't it? Fantastic,
the opening track, Creatures of the Night, right?
Yep.
That song rules hard. I'm a huge Kiss fan, so.
Well, War Machine. You got I Love It Loud. Yeah, the two great songs.
I could talk about Kiss forever, but Creatures of the Night is a great album, and it's a shame that sometimes it gets overlooked. But when you talk to people that like Kiss, it does always come up. Like, it's a winner,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's a good pick, dude. That's a good pick, Eric.
All right, I try my hardest. So, but anyway, we're out of our allotted time for the evening. Is there anything that you would like to plug or promote that we left off?
Should I give out some shout outs to some killer Chicago bands?
Sure.
Everyone should check out our boys in Burned in Effigy. Check out another killer Chicago band that's kind of resurrected called Avernus. They're back from the dead. And I can't think of all the bands, but those are two killer bands, shout outs and bros, and really good bands for people to check out, you know.
Fantastic. Well, this is how
if you're looking for some not new metal, but fresh metal that you may have not heard, check out Burned in Effigy and Avernus. They're good bands.
Fantastic. All right. Well, this is how things are going to work out. Jeff, the editing wizard over here, is going to clean up all of our boogers, and he's going to make us sound like $1 million. How about that?
Killer. Oh, you guys want to hear this great toy my son's got? Listen.
Bullshit level, DEFCON 5.
Is that pretty good, right?
That's pretty badass, yeah.
All right, there's one more.
Oh, come on now. That ain't even bullshit. That's horse shit.
So I thought you guys would enjoy that.
That's awesome.
Absolutely. All right.
That was the bullshit button. So thanks for having me on the show.
Okay.
Great.
Before we let you go, our next guest tonight that we're having on at 7:30 is Bloody F Mess from G.G. Allen. You want us to send him anything?
Wow.
Yeah. Any words that you would like to say? Hey.
Yeah. Wait, you could say something to him. I bet he would know and laugh. Say Shaun Glass from Chicago Repentance. I don't think he would know my bands, but tell him I remember a girl named Tara that was friends with that band. If he remembers a girl from Illinois named Tara.
Okay.
And then that's it.
All right. We'll ask him.
And then tell him stay metal.
We'll do it, man. Thank you so much for your time.
Yeah, thank you.
Be well. Take care.
Thank you.
All right. Have a great week, guys.
You
Cheers.
too. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Everybody pulls the plug and says their last goodbyes. Move to the sunshine, fight the grip of nights. If they ever take from you, then you plug out both their eyes. They roll the dice. Take your chances.
Welcome to the night. You think you know Night Demon? Then the Night Demon Heavy Metal Podcast is for you. Step into the darkness as we peel back the curtain to give you an unprecedented, all-access look into the mind and the heart of the demon. We're talking band history, song analysis, studio anecdotes, stories from the road. It's everything a diehard Night Demon fan could want and more. This is the only place to learn the inside scoop, the deep dive trivia, the untold tales from the band members themselves and those closest to the Night Demon story. Need more? The sacred Night Demon Crypt will be pried open to reveal demo recordings that have never before seen the light of day, all with in-depth commentary by the band and the people who were there for the writing and recording process. This is a gold mine, a treasure trove of all things Night Demon. Head over to nightdemon.net or wherever you listen to podcasts.